Hello and welcome to the return of the Gamer's Tale, broadcasting from the equivalent of the Philippines in World War II. I am your dungeon master for the evening, Trent Gander. I'm joined by Kieran of Cool Cuts Play and his friend Colton.
Hey guys.
Hello.
Today, well, not very organized, we'll be talking about 3 of the 5 new things that are going to be up on Kickstarter for RPGs. A plethora of things revolving around Go, or Pokemon Go.
Mostly Nintendo altogether.
Rip-offs of their products, such things, and how they have, tumbled down the hole of despair, and related things and my small misadventures in RuneScape, which I'm sure Pokemon Go will be more interesting. Alright, start off with the news. Savage Worlds RPG, Harold, Lovecraft, and Tesla is up on Kickstarter. It's based off of H.P. Lovecraft's books as an Action Labs comic as well. It takes the concept that Lovecraft's stories are actually not case studies, but written reports of his investigations into the paranormal invasion of his reality. The cast includes Lovecraft himself, Tesla, Amelia Earhart, Houdini, Mary Curie, Babe Ruth, Charlie Chaplin, and another 20 stars.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And it also adds 1 or 2 elder gods. It includes a 175-page book for set off of something. I can't read that. All right. It includes maps. It's a Savage World System. That's what it says. It includes maps, vehicles, and all the other stats that you need, including a GM screen, digital tokens, token marker, token pack, and a variety of other goodies, and maps including the what? I didn't even look at that handwriting. Providence, Boston, and the other place. I think that's what it's called. It's 27 days to go if you want to, give them money, but I don't, so maybe not. Next, they have up on Kickstarter is Strange Magic 2. It from Enterprise Games. It's a continuation of Strange Magic. They add herbalism, which they recommend is for your elven druid on your team. They also add cartomancy, builds decks, and the traditional spellcasting of Japan, Om-Yodo. And that adds the petitioning of spirits, Kami, and working with talismans and Shikigami allies, whatever that means. It works with Pathfinder and the 5th edition. In addition to them, Contagions has added the add-on Slouching Towards Jerusalem, which that's just funny, and the artwork was rather alluring for one of them. That's why I looked at it. In the Contagion world, there's, of course, the conflict itself, and there's a secret war, of course there is, over who controls the earth, but also who controls the souls of the inhabitants. The factions of the shadowy world that's becoming more and more clear include angels, demons, the old gods, and the player's actions affect the fate of the whole world. There's 25 days left before it doesn't get what it needs. So if you're interested in that one, you can check it out on rpgsnews.net. Of course, Kickstarter. At least I think that's rpgnews.net. Anyway, moving on to less dry and poorly handwritten things. If you haven't been on social media over the last week or two, and you have no idea what Pokemon Go is, I feel sorry for you, but also you are quite blessed without having to deal the massive tidal wave that is the Pokemon Go phenomenon. Kieran dislikes it. Colton likes it. I am indifferent. People can do what they want.
Well, then I'll just let this be a debate between Colton and I. I'm gonna let Colton come up with the opening statement, and then I'll come up with the 3 reasons why I absolutely despise it.
And I'll snipe from the peanut gallery.
All right.
So, what do you want me to say?
I want you to say why you think it's a good game.
Also, speak up so we can hear you.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's a good game because, it actually gets people outside, which most games haven't been doing at all lately. And most of the time with Pokemon, Nintendo has actually been trying to get people outside with Pokemon. Like, remember that old thing that came with like Pokemon Black and White? I think where you had to like walk to train your Pokemon. That was like baby steps into Pokemon Go, and with Pokemon Go, people are actually getting outside, interacting with nature and other people, socializing. I think it's a really good way to get people to, interact with the environment around them.
Is that all you have to say?
Well, that, and I think it's pretty cool to catch Pokemon in real life.
I should get several of my other friends on here who are really into Pokemon. I know one guy, he's like,
well, if you would like to add them, please let them come on.
I'd have to check their schedules, maybe next time.
All right. Well, here comes in the bunch of reasons why I hate it, and I'm coming to, like, the more I think on it, the more reasons I come up with. I'm gonna come up with the first main three reasons first. I love how you said it gets people out. Yes, it does get people out, gets them walking, but they're not looking up. They are looking on their phone, trying to catch some little virtual bit of code, which means if they don't look up, they don't cross the street, they could get run over by a car, let's say. They could literally fall to their death on some stupid thing. They can get hurt because they're not really looking up, they're looking down. So to add on to the problem with like texting and driving, we now have Pokemon and driving. So it's dangerous that way, but it's not only dangerous in the way that you're not paying attention, but it's also a good way for pedophiles to start getting into biz and start capturing kids, as kids would capture Pokemon. That was a bad joke, but anyways, like the way I mean that is like they can start lures in the map on the GPS that does the Pokemon Go thing. And let's say a kid wants to go to the park and they're doing this alone, they're walking to the park, and there's like this 50-year-old man sitting in a car who's waiting for them, who can easily get them. It's another way to lure them. Oh, I've got Charmander in the back or something like that. It's just a bad idea. It just opens up too many opportunities that can screw kids over, and we really, really don't need that. Now, on to my next one. My next reason, here's a good reason why it's annoying. Now, you're right, it does get people out. However, and it's good that people like the game. I'm totally up for that. Yeah, you like the game? Good for you. Awesome. It's a game that you like. It's starting a big community. But I don't want to hear about it because all over social media, Twitter, Facebook, you can't escape it. When I'm trying to look up Star Wars because, I'm all into Star Wars, I'll be trying to check into my latest Game of Thrones update or Star Wars stuff, trying to find out that Thrawn's now in Season 3 of Rebels. No, I'm stopped by Team Mystic, Team Instinct, and all of that sort of thing. I'm stopped by Pokemon Go this, Pokemon Go that, Pokemon this, Pokemon that, Pokemon this, and it starts to get really annoying. Now, I understand that even as myself, I can be a little hypocritical on this because all I really post is Star Wars stuff, all I really post is Game of Thrones, or I'm complaining about something, or I'm supporting my prime minister, something along those lines, and people may think that's annoying. Okay, but literally, when it's 10 consecutive posts in a row, like consecutive, I don't mean like one in the middle if it's like something else, consecutive posts about Pokemon Go, you start to get pissed off. That's why I didn't like Rogue One. I didn't like the Rogue One trailer when it first came out. Literally 5 consecutive trailers done by different pages all in a row as I'm scrolling down, and all I can see is that. So it pissed me off. It's just annoying. It gets in my feed. I don't really want to see this stuff, but I'm following the pages that have this, and I'm following these pages because usually they talk about other stuff, like, let's say, Skyrim, or Battlefield, or Call of Duty, or Grand Theft Auto, anything like that. I want to see that sort of stuff. But all they got right now is Pokemon Go, Pokemon Go. It's the rage. And it's good that, Nintendo's getting the biz of that, but it's just so fucking annoying. Now, this leads to my last point. Now, this is more of a selfish reason. Okay, so there's a good and a bad to this. It was actually made with an engine that I happen to use for making my game up and coming called Vendetta. I'm using this engine called Unity. It's now a really well-known engine because like Pokemon Go is made with it. But the big thing that's pissing me off. Okay, I'm a big PlayStation kid. Now you see console wars and everything. I used to be one of those kids. I used to be one of those like, PlayStation's better. Or like some kid would be like, Xbox better. I was the one that was like, PlayStation's better. Sony's my favorite company. Now, I'm not so much of that anymore. But I'm not so smug, but I'm kind of happy that Sony has like bigger sales than Microsoft or Nintendo. I like Nintendo, I like Microsoft, but Sony's the one for me. So it's like when I see their prices skyrocket, the PS4 is like double the price of both the like Xbox One and the Wii U. I like knowing that. That's pretty cool. But now, because of Pokemon Go, like Nintendo's money has skyrocketed. Like Pokemon Go has gotten that money so much that like Sony and like Microsoft are just dead in the water right now. They're dead in the water just because Nintendo has so much money now because that's pretty much the most popular game in the world right now. So that's like the selfish reason, but the other two reasons with the additives are really why I don't like the game. It just causes too much problems, and therefore I think it's stupid. But that's just me. I think it's good that Nintendo's getting back in the game, and I can't wait for the new mini NES. I can't wait for that. We'll be talking about that afterwards, but that's just my opinion. Drops mic, walks out.
Well, I'll toss my 2 cents in.
Am I allowed to respond to this?
Yeah, I'll just make this little quick thing, and then you can rip him a new one, literally or figuratively, however you please. Here at least, I've heard at least several different reports that people have walked into armed robberies, been repeatedly, or not repeatedly mugged, people have been mugged while playing the game. People have been led to possibly illegal firearms being left around by Pokemon Go. They've been sending people to places they shouldn't be going, such as restricted areas, private property, and pretty much just being a nuisance. They've also increased reports and like police call-outs of weird people hanging around buildings that seem quite odd, an odd activity. So it increases the strain on the local police force, including having people like wait outside police stations. And with recent things here in the States, with people being ambushed just because they're police and killed, that raises security questions as well. That is not a good thing, especially since this makes more people uneasy, taxes an already taxing system. And I'm going to hand it over to Colton to rip Karen a new one.
Now, however, before you start, Colton, I'd like to add this little bit. There have been games that have been blamed in the media for being dangerous to human society. Now, some of this was false, some of this was true. Like how they said GTA and Call of Duty causes violence in, kids and such. This may be true, this may not be true. For the most part, it hasn't been proven true, and personally, I think those people who think that are just stupid. But games like World of Warcraft have actually been dangerous where people won't leave where they're sitting and they actually starve themselves to death. Or other certain games like that. Mostly it's the MMO genre that's been doing that. And people have actually died from playing this stuff because it's so addicting, because it causes the same dopamine things you get from crack or anything like that, or even from running. It just releases too much dopamine, and that's dangerous. However, I'm not going to stop, supporting the Horde or anything like that. I'm still going to be an orc, and I'm still going to love the game, but I'm going to control myself about it. Now, this has been farce. This has been true. These games have had positive influences. However, this game has been proven with the effects and the causes to be dangerous. I'm just gonna let that. This is pretty much the first game, well, personally, that I know of that's really caused big problems. Other than the Virtual Boy, but that was a console back in the day where it would actually blind people if they played on it for longer than an hour or two.
Well, yeah, that was obviously a bad
Yeah.
design choice.
That was a bad move. You could really only play it for like a half an hour or so, and even then, you'd start seeing red or something. It was a bad move, but that was just a console itself. This is a game. This is like the first game that I know of that's actually causing negative effects to human society. Now, I'm not someone who goes for society because, as we were joking earlier, everyone calls me the edgy hipster. Now, this is partly true, but I don't like it because it's a part of society and all that. Blah 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 blah. I don't think this is exactly true. This is a conversation for later. But all I'm saying is this game is dangerous, and not only that, it's annoying. So that's why I don't like it. Now you can go ahead and try to rip me a new one.
All right. Well, I'll start with the things you said as to why it's dangerous. One of the things you said was that you're just going to be looking down at your phone the whole time. You don't actually have to keep doing that. The game notifies you. It gives you like a little vibration if a Pokemon or whatever is near you. And if you want to see if there's a Pokestop, you can just...
Still, but we know that people are going to be irresponsible.
Of course, but that's just human society. People are going to do that. There are people in this world who do not care about the rules, and they will they will disobey what they're told.
Well, we know how,
and they will not care for any caution or warnings.
Yeah, we know how bad texting and driving is. People say, "Oh, they're gonna, some people are gonna look up." Most people look down, no matter what you say, and it's gonna just get worse now with this Pokemon Go.
Yes, but here's the thing: the game literally tells you, look where you're going. It tells you that at the 10-second loading screen.
Yeah, and do people listen? Do you think people with epilepsy actually pay attention to the warning in the games nowadays, where it's like, if you have epilepsy, notify your doctor about playing this game before you play it?
I'm pretty sure.
Not a lot of people pay attention.
I don't see very many reports on people having a seizure because of video games.
You don't pay a lot of attention because it's actually quite common nowadays. Where if it's so common, no one really starts to care. It's like murder. We know what happens. No one really cares anymore. So, if it's a big mass killing somewhere, you see it on the news. But if it's just like some person dying, no one really cares.
Still, though, this is human stupidity, if that's what I'm going to say. Not a mental disability or whatever the hell I would describe seizures as being, or epilepsy, whatever.
Okay. Do you have any counterpoints for the other 2 points? For the last one, I think you can really tear me a new one on that one, because that's really just, it's a bad point. Second one is a little more solid.
I kind of lost from the memory a bit. What was the second one again?
Second one is why it's annoying, clogging media feeds everywhere. Like, you can't see anything or any, like, it's just all over the news, all over media. You can't go anywhere without seeing like some freaking Pikachu or Charmander or Charizard or whatever.
But here's the thing. This happens with literally every big thing that happens. So you told me, you even said when the Star Wars Rogue One trailer came out, it was all over your Facebook feed, the trailer and everything. Yes, and anything big is going to take quite a toll. And trust me, Pokemon Go isn't going to be popular forever. I heard a guy say that it's only going to be popular for like 4 months at least, and then people are probably gonna stop talking about it.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be there for a little while, but it's going to go away. This happens with every big thing. It's just natural.
That's what people said about video games in general back in the 80s.
They also said that about RPGs as well, Dungeons and Dragons.
They did, because they thought it was Satan's game back in the day. Neither you nor I lived in that time. Like, my mother lived in that time and such, and I'm pretty sure Colton's dad also lived in that time.
Yeah.
Because they were all born in the 70s, so they were all 80s kids. So, like, they lived with that. Everyone thought it was Satan's game and blamed it on, kids being weak and such. But it didn't exactly turn out to the fact where now it's like we're in the 21st century. We're in like where it's now 2016. Literally everyone's played an RPG at least once. At least once. Everyone's played an RPG. And people said back in the day, "Oh no, no one's gonna No one's gonna like it after a while. It's just gonna get old. Maybe like a year. Give it a year or two, and it's gonna be gone. And this is kind of what I'm gonna be worried about. Now, I still think it's good that Nintendo is getting the money. I'm not happy that they've skyrocketed over Sony, because Sony really needs to clean up their act with some of the games. But just, I personally think that one endeavor doesn't mean the entire thing should overblow the entire like company. Like Sony has had so many good things about it, so many good things about the console, about the games, that everyone just loves it, which is why there's so much money that comes through. With Nintendo, no one really likes the Wii U. No, I'm not saying people don't like the Wii U at all.
It is a good console.
Yeah, it's a good console. I'm sitting right beside one, and like I like the console, but no one likes it as much as an Xbox One or a PS4. It's the least. It's like in third place of like the new generation.
That's very true.
That's the unfortunate truth.
As much as I love the Wii U, it's like
Yeah.
one of my favorite consoles. It's definitely not as
Yeah.
successful or well known as Xbox One is.
I mean,
or well recognized.
people like Mario Kart, people like Super Mario Maker. They like all that sort of thing, but they don't like it as much as they'd play Battlefield, Call of Duty, or God of War, or any of these big franchise names. Just one game out of the entire system, because no one really likes the rest of them. I mean, people do, but not as much as they like Pokemon Go. It's that one thing that makes them skyrocket. It's that one game that really is carrying the entire company right now.
Yeah, this is the reason why I got an Xbox One, because
Yeah.
I was getting tired of just Wii.
Yeah.
I was just getting tired of Wii U.
Well, if I had the money, I'd buy a PlayStation 4, no questions asked. But of course, I don't have that money, so I'm going to settle with my PlayStation 3, and I'm going to love my PlayStation 3. Because personally, I think that's the best console ever, but that's my opinion. I'm not going to go all crazy. I just like the PlayStation 3.
Personally, I prefer my favorite console is the PlayStation 2.
PlayStation 2 is a fantastic system. I know that Trent's got one. Like, everyone had a PlayStation 2 back in the day.
I mean, it's the best-selling console.
This is true. So I think we've concluded our little Pokemon Go rant. Maybe we can move on to the next thing.
What was the next thing?
I think wireless 60.
Yeah, you guys need to talk about that because I have no clue about it.
Okay, you gotta tell me because you are
All right.
more than me.
I actually don't know as much as my friend Colin would, because I took
Actually, I know quite a little about it as well, so I'll probably add some.
Yeah, you'll add the points. I'm just gonna see how much I can add. All right. So the wireless 60 was the system that was made in California. It was came up with in California, made in China, and it was this 2010 manufactured game, and well, not a game. It was a console that had, I think, 60 games that were pretty much entire ripoffs of other games like Pac-Man, Qbert, all those classic games. Mario, Tetris, all these games that you can think of back in the day that were really cool, they were ripped off unfairly by this company that had no right. Like, they didn't steal the name, but like the entire concept was clearly ripped off. And it's just so, I mean, Plug and Play did that a lot, but they got the license to do that, I'm pretty sure.
They did.
Yeah, exactly. So with this, they had no right. And it was pretty much an entire Wii ripoff. Like, it had the same look as the Wii, same like layout as the Wii, same controller as the Wii, even the same buttons as the Wii. Maybe not in the same spots, but it was the exact same buttons. Now, I'm not sure what you might think, but if you ask me, that's a big freaking ripoff. And people spent a lot of money. I think, like, how much was like the original startup money for it? Do you know?
I don't know, but I know the one that we just, did an experiment with. I think it was bought at a yard sale for like $5.
Yeah, we bought it. Well, like you said, it went old. And our friend Colin used to be a big video game collector, big console collector. I'm slowly inheriting his collection. Slowly. But anyways, like Colton and I asked because there was a thing that we did back in the last year where we smashed a Plug and Play in a 3DS, and it was called Cool Kid Smash on my channel. So we just did that with the wireless 60. As I and before we started this, I showed you the shards. As soon as we're done this podcast, we'll be editing the video and it'll be up soon, so everyone can look forward to that. It was fun to smash. We took the hammer to it.
So I'm just gonna talk a little bit more about it, about Wireless 60.
Of course.
One interesting thing, the controllers, they're supposed to be like the Wii remotes, right?
Yeah.
And the Wii remotes, they use like motion control. So like, you know, if you like swing like a golf club, it'll be like just like a golf club, right?
Yeah.
So the Wireless 60, it attempted to do the same thing, rip off the Wii. Except here's the thing, the Wii controllers, they use technology like Bluetooth, but the Wireless 60 controllers, they use the type of technology that you literally find inside a TV remote.
Exactly. It was just horrible.
That means
Horrible.
The control was awful. And
Like-
it was barely even motion control.
No, there wasn't any motion control at all, I'm pretty sure.
Well, they attempted it, but it
Wow.
wasn't very good.
So yeah,
Because you can't go very far with TV remote technology.
Yeah. So we had fun with that. It was really fun to smash. The thing with the 3DS and the plug and play, people might ask, why would you break that? Well, they were broken, so we just wanted to have a little fun. With this, it was very able to work, but it was still a piece of crap. So we took a hammer to it and we had fun.
We tore him.
Yeah, it was really good. Hopefully, I'll be able to send the link up on Facebook and Twitter. I'll send some links to you so you can get it out, Trent.
Yeah.
Maybe make an article too if you can, showcasing the video.
Yeah, maybe. So, I guess we're on to the next thing. What's the next thing, Trent?
The next thing, if I remember correctly, was my story of getting back on RuneScape after like a 2 to 3 month hiatus. Now, just to give you a little backstory, I have played RuneScape since RuneScape 2, which came out in early 2000s. So I've been playing since like, I think it's like 3 years before I'm a 10-year veteran. I have the 5-year cape, at least.
Well, I guess that's pretty cool. Next year is gonna be my 10-year anniversary with the Force Unleashed.
Yeah. Was it 10 years? Maybe it was. Alright. I just know that I was like, oh, it might be closer to 10 years because I think I was around 10, somewhere between 10 and 13 when I started playing earlier. So it might be a little longer. Anyway, when you started out all the way back then, you got these really chintzy graphics and this really kind of gritty system to go in. Everything was kind of rough. They dumped you. Well, they trained you at this place called Tutorial Island. I know, a very imaginative name, but they teach you all the basic skills that you can do in the game, and then they dump you in this place called Lumbridge, which used to be just like a ghost town that you just kind of walk through because you had to. Fast forward until now, Lumbridge now has, in addition to Lumbridge Castle, it now has a bank it didn't used to have that where you can store your items. It has a massive, well, actually, no, it has a castle now. Or not a functional castle. The castle was always there. It has stores, places that are actually worthwhile to go to. It has more than a few quests that you can start. And throughout that time, they switched from, well, if you were a non-member, your respawn zone was Lumbridge, and that's where everyone ended up when they died. Except if you were a member, you could go to this one town that I forget the name of, but that has now become the non-member respawn zone. They made a member pay-to-play town a non-member location, and they added allow you to get some member skills up to level 5, which doesn't really take so much. They're trying to upsell you to get an actual membership. But after that had happened, after they brought one of the towns down to free-to-play, Tutorial Island has disappeared. You couldn't go to Tutorial Island with a new character anymore, and it was just gone. No one knew what happened. They made a quest explaining what has happened to Tutorial Island called Under Cursed Tides, or something along those lines. And the story is, you talk to some woman, she's looking for her old master, who was the mage tutor on Tutorial Island. You go to one of the mid-level slang masters, and he used to teach combat on Tutorial Island. you find out that Tutorial Island has sunk into the waves, and you have no idea why it has gone underwater. You are given a uh, underwater breathing spell cast on you, and you go down and investigate Tutorial Island. So it's roughly the same thing that I experienced when I was first starting the game. Only it was underwater and I was swimming and I couldn't fight anything, really. Which was, I would say, I was very nostalgic seeing Tutorial Island again. I didn't realize how much I had missed that part of RuneScape. And you find out that one guy who ended up there, a mage by accident, had teleported himself to Tutorial Island, and he really hated it there, so he cursed everyone who was on there to turn them into sea life, and the ocean sunk to the depths. Everyone except for the one Slayer Master, who had decided to move on by that time. But long story short, you defeat him, you turn him into a crab or something, or trap him at the bottom of the ocean, and all the trainers from Tutorial Island are brought back to the surface in normal form, and everything's hunky-dory. You get the ability to wield steel swords, and make it look like you're wielding a two-handed sword and a shield. So just a skin you can put over your character. Besides that, they've added 2 quests, I believe it was. That's what they reported it as. 2 quests about 2 of the creators of RuneScape. So now the 2 of the creators of RuneScape have NPCs named after them, talking about RuneScape, doing a quest to improve RuneScape or something. So that's pretty cool, at least in my opinion, to have one of the creators of the games actually be in the game he created.
Pretty cool.
Hmm?
That actually sounds pretty neat.
I would, of course, I would advocate that people try out RuneScape. It's, alright, I'll be honest, I don't like it as much as I like first-person shooters and stuff like that. It takes a level of patience that sometimes I just can't muster, especially in regards to combat. It's an old grinder game where you have to continually do the same task over and over again to get XP and to get your levels up. Some people can do it. There was the phenomenon of the woodcutting pier. You'd see 20 guys around this one rare tree taking an axe to it, and they all look the same. They're all bald. They all have a beard. They all have a green shirt, green pants, brown boots. No combat skills whatsoever. All there is woodcutting. It was surreal. But that has only become less popular, and people have gone on and done things that aren't revolving around woodcutting gear. They're making it more like World of Warcraft now, with the preset attacks and skins and stuff like that. But it still has its somewhat unique edge compared to Warcraft, at least in my opinion. You have, I guess, less to do than in Warcraft, but there's different quests. There's different sets of armor that do better things. You can get different. They still have the combat triangle of melee guys defeat rangers, rangers defeat mages, mages defeat melee guys. Really, in actuality, RuneScape was one of my first forays into the RPG spectrum. Excuse me. Because that was one of the only games in town. It was my first experience with online play, because I started playing it when dial-up was the only thing I had. I've talked about this with Kieran before, at least, because it was the only thing I could get to run on my computer. Everyone else was playing like World of Warcraft, other online games. It's like my 26.4 kilobytes a second could only process RuneScape, and then I couldn't even do that. So outside of the console games and the PlayStation 2, I played RuneScape. That was all I did. And I have walked the entire width, height, and breadth of free-to-play RuneScape and earned my fortune doing that. And had some great adventures, and I've had some random encounters, but all of it, I haven't bought anyone's account, no matter how much they try to sell. I haven't gotten to be a member just to make a crap load of money. I really actually haven't even considered becoming a member. I did at one point, but I haven't bitten the bullet and paid. But I learned about the member world and I enjoyed making myself almost to, or actually getting a million gold coins in RuneScape by buying, selling, trading, finding random awesome stuff on the ground, figuring out what was selling and what was in demand. Like my favorite way to earn money now is if you find grapes. This is if for any of you who are noobs listening to this about RuneScape, if there's anything that you need in the future that you need money for, if you find grapes on the ground, pick them up and sell them on the Grand Exchange. They sell for roughly 1.1 or 1,100 bucks, which when you're a noob, that's a lot of money per grape, and they're usually dropped in three. So you just made yourself about $5,000 in one trade.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well,
Interestingly enough, I had actually started playing RuneScape before there was even a Grand Exchange. Grand Exchange has streamlined the buying and selling process very much because before you have to jump from world to world because there's different servers you can play on, and you have to find someone that had the amount of fill-in product that you need to have that you don't want to go get yourself, that you have to buy off them, or fill in whatever armor piece you were looking for. So if you had to get the next set of armor for melee, because I am still primarily a melee guy, I would have had to gone and found let's see how many pieces of them. There are roughly 5 pieces in a full set, which was full helm, plate body, plate legs, scimitar, and kite shield. That was the go-to scheme for all manner of armor. Now it's moved over to two-hand because they've taken out some of the combat mechanics, making it less tactic-oriented. But I would have had to find either one guy who had all 5 implements and buy it off of him, or if I could not find that guy, I would either have to make all 5 of them myself with the appropriate skill level of mining and smithing, which could take a long, long, long time to achieve, or I'd have to find 5 individuals or combinations of individuals that had that particular point that I needed. I'd have to stand in a general store or in a bank for hours asking for X product. So the Grand Exchange has made that totally different. I can now put in an order. This is what I'm looking for. This is what I need. I can find out what somebody's selling, if they are selling it, how much they're selling it. So I can either, if I want to pay more than the price that they ask for and get it faster, or wait until someone can fill the order for me. If you want to study economics, study the Grand Exchange on RuneScape because it is a very, very realistic commerce module. It rises and falls just like the real stock exchange. So that part is fun, and I think I've rambled on about RuneScape a little too much. So, are there any questions from the Canadians?
of course, you had to point out that we're Canucks. Anyways, like I don't think I have any questions. I think it's very, very interesting. I think I should be looking it up maybe, but I hopefully maybe I'll get this game. It sounds really, really cool.
Hey, if you ever do, let me know. We can set up a time to get and meet up. I met this one dude. We're both level 50 characters. And we're both walking around in black armor. So I make the comment that we're kind of odd for doing stuff that's wearing armor that's not for our level. And we really hit it off. I should get on there and find him again because he only gets on like 4 days out of a month because he's now like in college or something. And I said I'd check him out like every Sunday because that was when I was able to use RuneScape at the time. But I fell out of it a couple months ago. I kind of miss playing with him, despite only playing with him like a couple times. but yeah, if you want to, if Kieran, if you want to play the game, and if you do, and you want some help or someone to soak up the damage while you try to kill and get stuff and get the XP, you can hit me up and we can meet up sometime.
So that sounds pretty cool. But like I said, I'll have to look into it first. But from what you said, it sounds pretty cool. Now, I have one last thing to add, as I think I've like asked you before about my friend Colin. So this is non-game related, but I'm trying to get the word out. My friend Colin Sutton he's an aspiring musician, and he's just come out with his first new EP. Now, EP is like a small album. It's only got like 6 songs on it, and it's called Dear John. It just came out. What was it? Monday? I think it came out Monday.
I think so.
Because I came back on the 17th, and the 18th was Monday. So I think it was Monday. So he just came out with it. There's already some good reviews. Personally, my review on it is that his voice isn't the greatest, but he certainly knows how to work the guitar and the piano. And I gotta give him that. He knows how to make a good tune. And I think we should just like show one song on the show, if possible.
I will make one comment before they show the song. I like the tune, but he needs to work on his range between him and the mic. He needs to project more. I had a hard time hearing him. Now, without further ado, plug your friend.
All right, we're gonna pull it up on YouTube here. Here, there you go. So crank that, because you know it's gonna be quiet.
Okay, hold on. Which one did you want me to show?
The first one, just whichever's the first. So whatever. Crank it. Here we go. All right, so that was Waves by Colin Sutton on the Dear John EP. Did you hear it perfectly, Trent?
I did. I heard. Well, I listened more to it. It was a little iffy at the first minute or so, but for some reason I was getting like the old 20s coffee shop, not coffee shop, milkshake shop from like a Fallout kind of thing from it.
That's 50s.
50s, yes, 50s.
Anyways, so obviously, like, I know I agree with the audio thing, but this is his first album, and let's be honest, with everyone's first album as a musician, they always screw up. I know. I'm a musician myself. I'm coming out with an album soon. I've already got 2 songs recorded. I don't have a release date set yet, but it's going to be called Chaos Divided. Definitely stay tuned for that. But like, wait, for those who do want to find his new EP, you can find it free on both Bandcamp and SoundCloud. I'm in Windsor. We're selling out the copies with $5 for per hard case. So that's a thing. I can't wait to see his next songs. Hopefully, he'll get better. I'm pretty sure he's gonna get better because he just needed that little bit of experience. But I love it. So that's all I got to say for that. What do you think, Colton?
Well, I'm no music man, so I can't really recognize what's good and what's bad in a song. But my only real complaint is that I think his voice is too quiet. That's all I can really say. But I think the songs are quite good.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think he was a bit too quiet.
we all can agree.
Yeah.
All right.
I was looking through Facebook while I was listening to the song, and I remember what the other one was. The other thing in the news. Warhammer 40K has set out their newest battle game, Regicide, on Steam and several places. And currently, at the recording of this episode, it's on sale, so you can get it for $5 or
Oh,
less.
that's not bad.
Or
really not bad. I better head to the store.
about $6, and you can get the whatever special edition they have of it, and also the downloadable content will probably set you back in total either $6 to $10, which I would probably get it if I had $6 to $10 I could spend on it.
That definitely sounds pretty cool. I think Colton and I will have to definitely check it out.
Yeah. Either way, the link for Colin's EP would also be below the live link of this broadcast in the Gamer's Tale Facebook page.
All right.
And I'll have to probably see if I can get, whenever this gets refurbished and put up, to put it in the links below the video as well.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Other than that, there's not really much else on the docket. Have we been going for about an hour? I know we started like...
We've gone for about 50 minutes now, so I think we've hit a good mark.
Yeah.
Aren't we supposed to talk about the NES?
Oh yes, we do have one more piece that we
Good.
did say we would talk about, and that's about the mini NES. Now, I do know that Colton probably knows more than me on it, so I'm going to let him take this away. Colton?
All right. So basically, Nintendo is soon they're going to be releasing the Nintendo Entertainment System all over again. Except this time, it's going to be much smaller. It's going to be about the size of
Maybe the Wii U?
Well, it can fit in your hand. It can fit in your entire hand. That's how small it is.
It's a hand span. It's roughly about 6 inches.
Yeah, I'd say so. So basically, it's the NES all over again, and it's gonna come packed with 30 classic games from the Nintendo Entertainment System library. Such games include Super Mario Brothers 1 to 3. Metroid, Zelda, Zelda 2,
Woo!
Star Tropics, Mega Man 2, and many more, as I said. That you can also buy a separate controller, so you can actually play 2 players, which I think is pretty cool for a plug-and-play system.
It's a plug and play.
Yeah, it's a plug-and-play.
Well, that actually sounds pretty interesting. How much are they? Is the starting off with? How much is it going to cost?
I think they said $60, so like less than average. So less than an average price game.
Is that American or Canadian?
I think it's American.
Okay, so that'd be about 64 in ours.
So that'd be 64 in Canada.
Yeah.
So Anyway, my opinion on it, I think 30 games is way too little for the entire NES library.
I
Like,
think they'll have add-ons. They must have add-ons.
I don't
course.
know, but 30 games, I just think that's way too little. I think they
Yeah.
should at the very least 100 games.
Yeah.
Like I could accept 100 games, but 30, that's just so little.
Well,
I don't really understand.
you and I
Also,
have a witness to Colin Sutton's little game collection because he, as I said, he was a former game collector and he had tons upon tons upon tons of NES games, SNES games, and oh my god, it was like heaven. Like he even he wanted to have like a fog machine at the bottom. He had lights going on. It was pretty much like a heaven thing going on. Oh my god, it was like for that many games and you only choose 30 out of that. They better frickin' have Contra. They better frickin' have Contra.
They have Contra too.
Do they have it? I don't think they'll have Duck Hunt, will they?
Yeah, no, that wouldn't really work because they
Yeah, the
don't have
Zapper.
the zapper. They don't have the zapper add-on. But that would be cool if they could make a little smaller zapper. That'd be kind of cool.
Well, I still think like the NES Mini is a good idea, but I think they should just come back with the NES altogether. Start, bringing back the NES, bring back the old games.
Thing is, though, I think that would cost too much money,
Dude, it didn't cost that much money back in the day.
and licensing issues would also be a problem.
Dude, they own their own system.
Yeah, but for other games, though.
Oh yeah. Well, they should still try because they would make so much money. Bring all those old games back. Show the new generation what like our parents lived off of. I think that's a great idea. Like just kids
Yeah, I
would get
know.
a better appreciation from where we started to how far we are now. Of course, we didn't start there. We started back in the 50s and with like military hardware. But now it's come to this where we're doing virtual reality. So I think kids should understand and appreciate how far we've come. So I think they should come back with just like the original NES.
Yeah, you do make a good point. It also makes me kind of happy because I see some on my Facebook feed some my family members who like never post things related to gaming actually sharing about the mini NES my aunt. I was like, wow, she's sharing the mini NES. That's pretty cool. I like that. It's getting around.
One thing that I do, I never buy games when they originally come out. Never, unless it's Baldur's Gate. Back in the day when back in the day when Baldur's Gate, like the series was first coming out, literally Dad forced my mother to go out in like blizzards just to get the frickin' game because we lived up in Sudbury. So that was a big problem. So it was like Mom was always forced to go to Walmart just to find out there's no copies left. No, she'd always come back with a copy one way or another. But that was the only time we ever bought games when they first come out. We always maybe like waited 6 months to a year. But this, because it's so affordable with so many games already in it, I think like the price is right. Not to make any puns here, but
yeah, I think it is.
This is something I'm gonna save up for, and I'm gonna buy the day it comes out. I'm gonna make sure I go to Walmart or EB Games or anything like that. And I'll be first in line. I'll be first in line to get that because I really want it. I will wait 3 days just to get it.
The thing is, I actually have my own NES.
Yeah, but it's a lunchbox, and the other one's upstairs.
Yeah,
the other one's upstairs.
Yeah, I know, but yeah, I actually did make a broken NES into a lunchbox. It's actually pretty cool. But
it's freaking awesome. We gotta send you the picture, Trent.
But anyway, as I was saying, I do have a working NES upstairs in my room, and I want to get the mini NES just because I think it'd be really cute to have a tiny baby NES on top of my bigger one, the actual adult one. I think that'd be really cute and awesome.
All right. I think that pretty much wraps that up.
Yeah. I will, however, make the redneck joke, which is if you have your new TV sitting on top of your old TV, you might be a redneck. That's what I thought of when you said put the baby NES on top of the old NES.
The only redneck joke that I pretty much know like that is like, you're a redneck when a gun rack has got a gun rack on it. But I stole that from Family Guy.
Yeah. Probably stole it from Just Foxworthy. Anyway.
I've got more redneck jokes, but they're just less appropriate.
Of course. All right, so it's been about an hour for us. Kieran, where can we find you online?
All right, you can find me as the admin of the Ultimate Sith Empire page up on Facebook. I'm the Cool Cuts Play for YouTube. Like I said, I don't like showing out my Twitter account, my Facebook account, because that's private. But yeah, that's where you can find me. Where can they find you, Colton?
You can find me on YouTube. I don't upload too often, but I plan on making more content soon.
What's your channel in?
My channel name is Sipbox. Sippbox. If you seriously can't spell that. Well, I won't expect you to spell it first sip part, but you can spell box, right?
Yeah.
Can you spell box?
Oh, yeah, of course I can spell box.
Spell it right now.
B-O-X, you stupid freaking moron.
I'm honestly being.
Alright. Anyways, where can they find you, Trent?
Well, you can find me on the Diary of a Sith Chick pages as the admin @Goron. You can also find me on the DSC Jedi Archive Fest Locker. You can find me also on my personal blog page, which is The Irreverent Gentleman, not Irreverent Gentleman. They are not us. The Irreverent Gentleman is linked to my WordPress blog, The Gentleman's University of Manliness.wordpress.com, which is connected to Tumblr as well. You can also find me on Twitter at Gent the Irreverent, no T at the end. And other than that...
Oh, wait. I do have one more that I do. You can also find me up on the galacticroundtable.net as the Legends Kid, as in I'm a big Expanding Universe supporter. Go Legends!
Yeah. You can also check out TGR's other empire, and also Diary of a Sith Chick every other Thursday, which would be next Thursday up on the docket, for shenanigans with the admins and other pretty much crap show stuff, with even more than this show, which is quite impressive if you think about it. Other than that, I'm working on getting up a YouTube channel for the Irreverent Gentleman. I'll be posting content probably in the next 2 months, I'm gonna guess. I like giving a big time frame, so it's not like I'm rushed and I'd like forget about it. Other than that, we will fade out as the lights go down and awesome music plays.